So he's walking down the road toward that meeting, and he's blocked by a vision of Jesus, who stops him and says, Omar, this is not.
Over 2.4 billion people on this planet call themselves Christians. And for centuries, believers have reported seeing visions, signs, and images of Jesus Christ in the world around them. But something changed when cameras became part of everyday life. Suddenly, these sightings could be recorded, shared, and examined by millions. Some turned out to be tricks of light. Others have never been explained. These are 15 times Jesus Christ was caught on camera, and number 1 will leave you speechless. Number 15. Jesus on a Walmart receipt. In the summer of 2011, a couple from Anderson, South Carolina, had just finished a routine shopping trip at their local Walmart. They grabbed their receipt, tossed it on the kitchen counter, and went about their evening. But later that night, when Jacob Simmons and his girlfriend Gentry Lee Sutherland picked up the crumpled piece of paper, they froze. Right there on the receipt, a strange dark mark had appeared. It was not part of the printed text. It was not a stain from anything they could identify. And to both of them, it looked unmistakably like the face of Jesus Christ. The image showed what appeared to be a bearded figure with long hair and closed eyes, almost as if the face had been lightly burned into the paper. Sutherland told local media that she believed it was a sign from God during a difficult period in their lives. She said she had been praying for guidance just days before. The receipt was from a purchase totaling just dollars prior to the discovery. They had bought nothing unusual, just everyday household items. But a face on a receipt is one thing. The next person on our list found the image of Christ carved into solid stone by the forces of nature itself. And the details she noticed will give you chills. Number 14. Christ on the Rock. In late March of 2019, right around the first day of spring, a woman named Shay House from Lynchburg, Virginia, went for a walk along the Blackwater Creek Trail. It is a popular 3-mile paved path that winds through an urban forest near Liberty University. She had her earbuds in, listening to praise and worship music, when something made her stop and pull out her phone. She had been photographing rock formations she found beautiful when she noticed something that made her heart race. Through her camera lens, the patterns of erosion on one particular rock face formed what she believed was the unmistakable image of Jesus Christ. She could see a nose, closed eyes, what appeared to be a crown of thorns, a bruised and swollen left eye, a wounded left cheek, a beard, a mustache, and long hair falling down the right side. It matched, in her mind, exactly what Christ might have looked like after the crucifixion. House posted a video on YouTube on March 27, 2019, saying she could see Jesus on the rock. Fox News picked up the story. So did BeliefNet and ABC 3340. A professor named Kang Lee from the University of Toronto, who had published a major study on face pareidolia in the journal Cortex in 2014, explained that the brain's right fusiform face area activates when processing illusory faces, treating them almost the same as real ones. Geologists call rocks that resemble human faces mimetoliths, and they are found all over the world. One of the most famous was the Old Man of the Mountain in New Hampshire, which collapsed in 2003. But for Shay House, science did not matter. She believed she had been led to that exact spot at that exact moment. Then comes number 13. Jesus floating in the California sky. In early May of 2019, Pablo Morales was standing outside his home in Burbank, California, smoking a cigarette with his wife and a friend on a cloudy evening. The sun was beginning to set when something caught his eye. Up in the sky, a dark figure was slowly floating across the clouds. It looked to him exactly like a person, and not just any person. It looked like someone in robes, descending from above. Morales grabbed his phone and started recording. In the footage, you can hear the emotion in his voice. He whispers what sounds like a prayer, calling out to God. The figure drifts slowly, passing behind a tree before appearing to descend toward the ground. Morales and his companions watched in silence as it moved. Here is what made this case unusual. Morales lived near Hollywood Burbank Airport, also known as Bob Hope Airport. That is a controlled airspace zone where drones and unauthorized flying objects are strictly prohibited. The video was picked up by Cater's news agency and broadcast on Inside Edition on June 21, 2019. Sputnik International and Coast to Coast AM also covered it. Skeptics suggested it was most likely a novelty balloon or a cluster of balloons drifting in the wind, which is actually a common source of flying humanoid reports in Southern California. But Morales never accepted that explanation. He maintained until the end that what he saw had no earthly explanation. Let's move to number 12. Jesus moving across the sky in the Philippines. A few years ago, a YouTuber who goes by the name MyBubs was taking an ordinary walk through her hometown in the Philippines. The sun was about to set. People were on the streets going about their normal routines. Nothing about the evening felt unusual. Then she noticed a woman standing nearby with a camera, aiming it at the sky and trying desperately to capture something. Curious, MyBubs looked up, and what she saw stopped her in her tracks. Among the clouds, a figure had formed that looked exactly like a person. But this was not a still image frozen in the sky. The figure appeared to be moving, gliding slowly across the clouds as if walking. MyBubs pulled out her own camera and started filming. The resulting footage became one of the most talked about Jesus sighting videos in the Filipino online community. Unlike many cloud sightings that are vague and distant, this one appeared remarkably clear. The proportions of the figure, the apparent flow of robes, and the steady movement gave it an almost cinematic quality. Number 11. Jesus in the clouds over Argentina. On the evening of May 6, 2019, sometime between 6 and 7 in the evening, a woman named Monica Aramayo was crossing the Puente Otero Bridge in San Salvador de Jujuy, the capital of Jujuy province in northwestern Argentina. She was heading home from work and casually snapped a few photos of the sunset with her phone. She did not think much of it at the time. Later that night, when she scrolled through her camera roll, one image stopped her cold. A gap in the clouds had allowed the setting sun to pour through in a way that created a perfect silhouette. The figure had outstretched arms, what appeared to be flowing robes, and a shape on its head that resembled a crown. It looked almost identical to the famous Christ the Redeemer statue that towers over Rio de Janeiro. Aramayo posted the image to Facebook. Within days, it had been shared millions of times. La Nación, one of Argentina's largest newspapers, ran the story. So did Infobae, Fox News, Yahoo Lifestyle, AccuWeather, and media outlets across Latin America and Europe. Aramayo told La Nación that she was shocked because she had not noticed anything unusual while taking the photo. She denied any digital manipulation. She also mentioned that an Italian scientist specializing in analyzing natural pattern images had contacted her from Buenos Aires and expressed interest in examining the photograph, but no results from that examination were ever made public. Let's move to number 10. The Christ of Light over Italy. On Friday, March 1, 2019, just before the start of Lent, an artist and chef named Alfredo Lo Bruto was having dinner in Piazza San Severino in the coastal town of Agropoli, in the province of Salerno in southern Italy. The piazza overlooks the Tyrrhenian Sea, and the sunset that evening was particularly dramatic. Thick clouds filled the sky, but the setting sun was breaking through in brilliant golden beams. Lo Bruto, who rarely used social media, pulled out his camera and snapped a photograph. When he looked at the image, he could not believe what he saw. The sun rays piercing through the clouds had formed the unmistakable shape of a human figure with outstretched arms. But unlike other cloud sightings where the figure is made of cloud, this one appeared to be made entirely of light. The golden beams radiating outward from the shape made it look as if the figure itself was glowing. He titled the image, Il Cristo di Luce nel mare di Agropoli, which translates to The Christ of Light in the Sea of Agropoli. He posted it to Facebook, and it immediately went viral. Italian national television program La Vita in Diretta on Rai interviewed him. AccuWeather featured the photo on March 5, 2019. International Business Times, Fox News, The Sun, and the Daily Mail all ran stories. Lo Bruto told reporters that he immediately recognized it as the image of Christ the Redeemer, with open arms, as if blessing the entire city of Agropoli. Then we have number 9. The Figure in the Desert Sky. On the evening of July 18, 2019, amateur astrophotographer Daniel Reyes was camping outside Sedona, Arizona, capturing long-exposure images of the night sky. The area, known for its dramatic red rock formations and unusually clear air, is a favorite spot for stargazers and UFO enthusiasts alike. That night, the Milky Way stretched brilliantly across the horizon, and Reyes had set up his camera to take a series of 30-second exposures aimed toward Cathedral Rock. He snapped dozens of photos over the course of 2 hours. At the time, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The desert was quiet. No drones, no aircraft, no hikers nearby with flashlights, just the wind and the stars. 2 days later, while reviewing the images on his laptop, Reyes noticed something strange in one particular frame. Suspended above the rock formation, partially formed within a cluster of illuminated clouds, was what appeared to be a tall, humanoid silhouette. The shape looked almost symmetrical: a head, shoulders, and what seemed like elongated arms extending slightly outward. Zooming in only made it more unsettling. The figure wasn't solid like a person, but it wasn't random like a cloud either. It appeared brighter than the surrounding sky, as if subtly glowing from within. Reyes posted the image to his photography forum, stating clearly that the shot was unedited apart from basic color correction. He even uploaded the raw file to prove it hadn't been manipulated. Within days, the image spread across social media. Some claimed it was an angelic presence. Others insisted it was a light refraction anomaly caused by atmospheric distortion. A few speculated it could be an unknown aerial phenomenon caught mid-exposure. Local news stations picked up the story, and paranormal investigators requested interviews. Reyes maintained he had no explanation. He simply captured what was there. Whether it was a trick of light, a rare atmospheric event, or something no one fully understands, the image continues to spark debate. Then comes Number 8. Christ of the Plague, in Colombia. On Sunday night, March 29, 2020, residents of Barrio José Antonio Galán in the city of Magangué, in the department of Bolívar, Colombia, noticed something extraordinary on a large ceiba tree, known locally as a bonga. The upper trunk of the tree displayed what appeared to be a bearded face, with the head tilted to one side. Two massive branches extending from the trunk looked exactly like outstretched arms on a cross. Under the glow of streetlights at night, the resemblance to a traditional crucifixion scene was startling. The timing made the event feel almost supernatural. It appeared just days before Holy Week, during the very first weeks of Colombia's strict COVID-19 lockdown. The country had only about 1,579 confirmed cases at the time, and fear was spreading faster than the virus itself. Dozens of residents defied the mandatory curfew, streaming out of their homes with candles, kneeling in the dirt beneath the tree, and praying out loud. They gave it a name. They called it Cristo de la Peste, which means Christ of the Plague. Local journalist Rafael Rodriguez from El Propio de Magangué recorded the first video. Mayor Carlos Cabrales rushed to the scene with police, desperate to disperse the crowd before the gathering became a super-spreader event. Colombian newspaper El Tiempo ran the story. Pulso explicitly identified the phenomenon as pareidolia. But for the people of Magangué, who were terrified and isolated, the tree offered something science could not. It offered hope. After this comes Number 7. Soybean Jesus in Fostoria, Ohio. On the night of July 2, 1986, at approximately 10:15 p.m., a woman named Rita Ratchin was driving along Ohio Route 12 near the small city of Fostoria. As she passed the Archer Daniels Midland soybean oil processing plant, she looked over at one of the large storage tanks and slammed on her brakes. On the side of the tank, illuminated by yellowish sodium vapor security lights, she saw what looked like a painted mural. A long-haired, bearded man in a white robe with outstretched arms, accompanied by the profile of a small child. She waited 4 full days before telling anyone, because she was afraid people would think she had lost her mind. Her friend, Dorothy Droll, was the first person she told, and Droll saw it too. Word spread through Fostoria like wildfire. Within days, thousands of people were lining Ohio Route 12 every night after sunset, creating bumper-to-bumper traffic that stretched for miles. One witness said a 2-mile drive took 90 minutes. Visitors arrived from Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Michigan. Local entrepreneurs smelled opportunity. Someone started selling "I saw the image" coffee mugs for $4 each and sold out 1,000 of them almost immediately. A man named John Broski invested his entire savings of $1,800 into printing T-shirts. The nearby LK restaurant, which had been ranked 53rd out of 55 locations in its chain, suddenly jumped to 3rd place in sales. Then, in late September 1986, a 34-year-old Findlay firefighter named Ricky J. Sims, fed up with the traffic, threw 12 to 15 white paint-filled balloons at the tank and was arrested for criminal damaging. A DM eventually repainted the entire tank in 1987, but the image reportedly reappeared as the new paint wore off, and in 1994, crowds once again lined up for half a mile to see it. Moving to Number 6. The Voice at Battery Park. On September 11, 1999, exactly 2 years before the attacks that would change the world forever, thousands of people gathered at Battery Park in Lower Manhattan for an event called the World Marian Peace Regatta. It was organized by Maria Luisa "Baby" Nebrida, a Filipino devotee and filmmaker, through her organization called Mass Media Movement, which stands for Mary's Army to Save Souls. A fleet of 16 ships sailed up the East River toward the United Nations building, carrying the missionary image of Our Lady of Guadalupe on the flagship Excalibur. The procession was followed by an outdoor mass at Battery Park. The celebrant was Father Gerard McGinnity, a Catholic priest from Knockbridge in County Louth, Ireland. He held a doctorate in sacred theology and had served as dean at St. Patrick's College in Maynooth, Ireland's national seminary. During the moment of consecration, when the priest elevates the host and the chalice, something happened that those present say they will never forget. McGinnity's voice changed. The words, "This is my body which will be given up for you," came out in a tone and timbre that did not sound like the Irish priest at all. His hands visibly trembled. The shift was captured on video and audio, and it is important to note that Father McGinnity later became the spiritual director of Christina Gallagher, an Irish woman whose house of prayer was explicitly disavowed by the Catholic Church. Archbishop Michael Neary of Tuam stated in 2008 that the house has no church approval, and a 1996 diocesan commission found no evidence of supernatural phenomena connected to Gallagher. After this, we have Number 5. The Statue That Opened Its Eyes. In the second week of June 2016, someone attended a rosary service at the Capilla del Santo Cristo, a chapel associated with the Cathedral of Santiago in Saltillo, in the state of Coahuila de Zaragoza, Mexico. They recorded the service on their phone. In the footage, you can see a statue of the crucified Jesus Christ mounted on the wall. And then, for just a brief moment, the statue's painted eyes appear to open. They seem to look directly at the camera, and then they close again. The video was posted online by Miguel Ivan Escamilla, a self-described paranormal activity expert with over 13 years of experience. He ran a YouTube channel called Adimensional Paranormal. When he uploaded the clip on approximately August 3, 2016, it surpassed 1.5 million views almost overnight. Escamilla claimed the footage had been analyzed for weeks by more than 20 specialists, although all of them were fellow paranormal investigators, not independent scientists or video forensics experts. The Diocese of Saltillo's response was swift and unambiguous. Officials refused to even view the footage. Bishop Raul Vera Lopez stated flatly that the statue did not open its eyes and that the video was the result of special effects. The cathedral's vicar, Humberto Garcia Sanchez, called it an optical illusion or something born from imagination. Snopes, the well-known fact-checking website, examined the video and noted that it was dark, blurry, shaky, and low resolution, which are characteristics common to nearly every supposedly paranormal recording in existence. The most likely explanations include slight camera movements causing light reflections on the statue's painted eyes, basic video editing, or simple optical tricks created by shifting angles in dim lighting. Then we have Number 4. The $28,000 grilled cheese sandwich. In 1994, a woman named Diane Deuser from Hollywood, Florida, was making herself a grilled cheese sandwich using white bread and American cheese. She took one bite and then stopped. There, burned into the bread, was what she believed to be the face of the Virgin Mary. Some who saw it also said the face resembled Jesus Christ, with large eyes, a serene expression, and what appeared to be a faint halo around the head. Most people would have either eaten the sandwich or thrown it away. Deuser did neither. She placed it in a clear plastic box with cotton balls and kept it on her nightstand for 10 years. She said it never grew a single spot of mold during the entire decade, which she interpreted as further proof of its divine nature. In November of 2004, she listed the sandwich on eBay. The auction attracted worldwide media attention and over 1.7 million page views. It eventually sold for $28,000 to goldenpalace.com, an online casino famous for buying bizarre memorabilia as publicity stunts. Deuser appeared on multiple talk shows. She told interviewers that the sandwich had brought her luck over the 10 years she kept it, including a $70,000 win at a casino. Scientists explained that the browning patterns on the bread were created by uneven heat distribution from the pan and cooking oil, and that the brain naturally organizes these patterns into recognizable shapes through pareidolia. Then we have number 3, Christ in the Flames of Notre Dame. On Monday, April 15, 2019, the day after Palm Sunday, fire broke out at Notre Dame de Paris during Holy Week. The blaze raged for over 13 hours, destroying the medieval cathedral's iconic wooden roof and its spire while sparing the twin bell towers, the altar cross, and the crown of thorns relic. The world watched in horror as one of the most recognized buildings in human history burned. That evening, a 38-year-old mother named Leslie Rowan from Alexandria in West Dunbartonshire, Scotland, was at home reading news reports about the fire. She came across a photograph from the British music outlet NME showing the burning scaffolding and stopped scrolling. In the center of the flames, she saw what appeared to be the silhouette of a figure in a white robe with a red sash. She believed it was Jesus Christ. Rowan circled the figure in the photograph and posted it to Facebook with a message encouraging people to look closely. The post went explosively viral. It was shared hundreds of thousands of times within hours. Kang Lee, a psychologist at the University of Toronto, whose 2014 study on face pareidolia is one of the most cited in the field, told HuffPost that human brains are uniquely wired to recognize faces, even when there is only a slight suggestion of facial features. An anthropologist named Pascal Boyer from Washington University in St. Louis added that sharing such images serves as social bonding. Then comes number 2, the apparition in Bulgaria. In 1990, just months after the fall of communism in Eastern Europe, a missionary group called Power Unlimited arrived in Sofia, Bulgaria. They were a sub-ensemble of the Lee University Campus Choir from Cleveland, Tennessee, directed by Dr. David Horton. Power Unlimited became the first Christian musical group to minister in Eastern Bloc countries, visiting Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, and Romania during a historic tour. The event did not take place in a traditional Bulgarian Orthodox church. It was held in a rented cinema in Sofia that had been converted for a Church of God Pentecostal service. The atmosphere was electric. For many Bulgarians, this was one of the first openly Christian gatherings they had ever attended after decades of state atheism. During the service, a video camera was recording. When the footage was reviewed later, something extraordinary was noticed. Standing among the congregation was a tall figure dressed entirely in white. The figure appeared to be watching the worshippers in complete silence. But here is what made it so unsettling. When attendees were asked about the person in white, not a single person present remembered seeing anyone matching that description in the room. Supporters of the video claim it was examined by experts in the United States, who confirmed it was authentic and showed no signs of manipulation or alteration. However, no names, institutions, or published forensic reports have ever been provided to support this claim. The story circulates primarily within Church of God community publications, particularly on our COG.org. Dr. David Horton, who could have provided direct testimony about the event, passed away from a heart attack on May 8, 2006, while touring the Bahamas with the choir. The footage also captured screams during the service that were attributed to a blind woman being healed. No mainstream Bulgarian or international media outlet ever covered the incident. It remains one of the most debated and unverified Jesus sightings in modern history. Lastly, on Number 1. The face of Jesus hidden in the desert for 1,500 years. In the barren wilderness of Israel's Negev desert, about 40 kilometers southwest of Beersheba, sits the ruins of an ancient village called Shivta. It was originally a Nabatean settlement from the 1st century, and it reached its peak during the Byzantine era between the 5th and 6th centuries. The site was first discovered in 1871 by explorer Edward Henry Palmer, and was investigated over the decades by legendary figures including T.E. Lawrence, better known as Lawrence of Arabia, and American archaeologist Harris Dunscombe Colt in the 1930s. But the most important discovery at Shivta did not happen until 2018, when a team from the University of Haifa's Zinman Institute of Archaeology began working at the site. The team included lead author Dr. Emma Mayan Fanar, an art historian, alongside Dr. Yotam Tepper, an archaeologist, Dr. Ravit Lin, a conservationist, and Professor Guy Bar Oz, who heads the Laboratory of Archaeozoology. It was Mayan Fanar who first saw it. She was examining the apse ceiling of a baptistry next to the North Church at Shivta, when the angle of light shifted and revealed something that had been invisible for centuries. Painted directly onto the ancient plaster was the face of a young man. She later described the moment by saying she was at the right place, at the right time, with the right angle of light, and suddenly she saw eyes looking back at her. The painting depicted Jesus at his baptism in the Jordan River. But this was not the Jesus the world was used to seeing. There was no long flowing hair. There was no thick beard. Instead, the figure had short curly hair, a prolonged face, large expressive eyes, and an elongated nose. It was a depiction of Christ that predated the long-haired, bearded Western tradition that became dominant after the 6th century. This was one of the earliest known portraits of Jesus found anywhere in the Holy Land. The findings were published in the prestigious journal Antiquity, published by Cambridge University Press in Volume 92, Issue 364, in August of 2018. The paper was titled Christ's Face Revealed at Shivta. A related painting showing the Transfiguration of Christ in Shivta's South Church had already been published in PLOS One in 2017. Although the Holy Land is the birthplace of Christianity, almost no early Christian art has survived in the region, which made this find extraordinarily rare and significant. Haaretz, CNN, History.com, Archaeology Magazine, ArtNet News, Live Science, and the Biblical Archaeology Society all covered the discovery extensively. Mayan Fanar and Tepper went on to publish further analysis in the summer 2024 issue of Biblical Archaeology Review. The painting at Shivta did not just reveal an ancient image. It challenged centuries of assumptions about the physical appearance of the most influential figure in human history. And it remains hidden in the desert, slowly fading under the sun, waiting for the next pair of eyes willing to look closely enough to see what has been there all along. Those were 15 extraordinary moments where people believed Jesus Christ was caught on camera or captured in the most unbelievable places. Whether you see these as divine signs, tricks of light, or the incredible power of the human mind, one thing is certain: people will never stop looking. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know which one stunned you the most.